You're in for the ride of your life with this week's episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. We've got two brand new events for you this week, 70-mile-per-hour snowmobile oval racing and high-flying snowcross. We'll also be digging in the dirt with some super modified tractor pulling from Hamburg, New York. Are you ready?
Got it tacked up, and if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
Plenty of action today at Lucas Oil on the Edge from snowmobiles, but they look much different than those. It will be the Starter Guard 600 Open Snowmobile, presented by Herculiner. We're at Waupaca County Fairgrounds in Waupaca, Wisconsin. Yeah, oval track racing, purpose-built machines, and they are bad fast.
Catching up with two-time world champion Gary Moa, who's been racing these things for a lot of years. Gary, what are some of the changes that you've seen over your career? And then talk to us a little bit about this Open 600 class.
Well, the Open 600 class originated about 6 years back with an open carburetor rule, and now we're restricted to 34 millimeter carburetors. Basically, it's 135 to 140 horsepower, 600 cc, twin piped, maximum width 45 inches. It's just a highly modified ice oval track machine.
How much fun are they to drive?
They're great. They get 0 to 80 in 3.2 seconds, so they're really fast. They're like little rockets. You pull a trigger on them, and they just go in that direction, and they stick really good to the ice, and it's a lot of fun.
And those horsepower ratings are equivalent to what the GS Suzuki 1100s were back in the day when they first came out, about 120 horsepower. So, I mean, we're talking about a lot of horsepower here and a very light configuration.
And all snowmobile brands represented here, Ski-Doo, Polaris, Arctic Cats, they're all in the mix, and a great start there, Ken.
Look at them hang off the side, the body English and the body weight to try and keep those things from flipping and get some bite. Just unbelievably fast. Gary Moyle leading the pack.
And you can see Gary's machine from the very, very front, that his machine is downsized in the front. It's in a position where it's not only downsized body-wise, but it's a little wider, it's a little flatter. Some machines with a more full body configuration here.
You can actually see him kind of backing those things in like a flat track bike, if you will. Of course, if you're in the back, if you're right there immediately behind somebody, you have to deal with the roost and all the ice that's getting kicked up.
Absolutely. Moyle just making it look easy. Again, the body English, as you mentioned early on, down a straightaway, not all that critical. You want to tuck in like you would maybe on a drag bike making a run, but on those corners, look at that.
Oh.
The biggest share of that body. One little bobble right there in the turn.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good bump going in there and rutting up just a little bit in the turns as well. As you might imagine, the last thing you want to do here is high side that thing, and you can see it actually picking up that left front ski.
Man, that is amazing how fast these guys are going. As the battle right there between Moyle and Dustin Wall for the #1 position.
Guys with the Open 600s around the racetrack, everybody wondering how fast they're going. Let's check out the radar gun. 77 right there. We saw some of the early laps turning 81, 84 miles an hour. Now remember, that's coming out of the corner. We're approaching triple-digit 100 entering turn 1.
I mean, these guys are flying, no question about it. And I got to tell you, man, that was what I thought was going to be a very costly mistake out of our leader, who looked like he had gone high up there in the turn, but managed to hang on to the spot. So Moyle feeling the pressure again. He goes high. This time, Wall takes advantage of it.
That's exactly right. And you got to think for just 1 second that Wall was waiting for that perfect time to make that pass, because really, in this case, unlike being in a car, you cannot look back while these things are flying out of the track to kind of protect your position, if you will, like needed to be done there. Wall, now your new leader.
And Wall very aggressive here on this last lap. Has started to check out already. Moyle must be having some sort of mechanical issue. I don't even see him in the shot, but your winner is Dustin Wall. Congratulations to him. Made the pass and then just checked out.
Well, he sure did. Dustin Wall, your champion here in the 600 Open category. Joel Diamond, Nick Dolezal, your top three. Gary Moyle with problems finishes 7th.
And guys, picking up his 7th win of 2010, a short 2010 to this point. Dustin Wall, congratulations, man. You guys put on a heck of a show.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to come here and race. This track's awesome, and this year's been going pretty good. We got number 7 here, and hopefully we can get number 8 tomorrow.
How about the pass for the lead? Gary Moyle was fast as well. You guys put on a good show.
Yeah, it's kind of took me most of the race to figure out how I was going to do it, and I finally picked a good line, and I could see where I was gaining a little on him, and I put all my lines together and was able to catch him, and then once I got out front, I could go where I wanted to go and pulled away from there.
The bad boys of snowmobile racing right here on the ice. Dustin Wall takes home Open 600, guys.
On the Edge is being brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Starter Guard, no more dead batteries. Bringing you action from Fire on Ice in the Great Northern Snow X Series. This is a Lucas Oil Pro Open Snowcross presented by Herculiner. We have to real quickly say thanks to Ballwig Implements and also Comfort Suites for giving us a great place to stay in Waupaca. It's been an awesome time.
The snowcross track here tonight is simply awesome. It took 60 man-hours plus to put it together, over 150 loads of snow to make this 3-foot base. 2 distinct areas we're going to have to watch. The big tabletop over on the front stretch, 14 feet high. We're going to see 80-foot air here tonight in the pro classes. Now, the switchback right behind us and right here, you can see they call this a switchback. It's like a bunch of moguls put together. We have no idea where these snowmobiles are going to go. A very crucial part of the snowcross is right here, guys, an awesome 3/10 mile racetrack.
All right, lining them up here. You can take a look at the order courtesy of Herculiner. Big, heavy, bulky sleds that probably don't really enjoy turning on a dime, but these guys are so talented with them. They're quick, they're nimble, and there's a big wheel staying on the far side.
And unlike the oval track racing we saw just a few moments ago, this is all loose, unpacked snow. And again, it's like a motocross version, if you will, only with snowmobiles. So there's a lot different configuration here and a lot tougher ways you have to win this thing.
You can see that fluff out there. If you get out of the groove too far and you get in that fluff, it'll grab a ski and suck you completely off the track and out of the line. There's that big tabletop that we heard Rob mentioning before.
And like Rob mentioned, you're going to see a lot of air during the course of this race as Brent Nastala is currently your first place machine, but he's being chased pretty close by a number of competitors here, including this battle between Justin Monty and Jacob Muller.
You hear those things, man, they are pipey. Those 2 strokes out there, they are crisp.
And you know, in this cold air, Ken, these things are really, really quick to respond. If you've got these things set up just right and jetted just right, obviously for the cold conditions, they are so quick to respond. It wouldn't be the same. I know the conditions would never be this way in hot weather, but these things are meant to react quickly, and they do just that.
Great battle in there. You can see in this pack, man, a lot of those guys side by side, nose to tail. You have to deal with a roost whenever these guys hit the throttle. It's kicking up a bunch of slop, and look at him just air it out, making it look easy.
Man, almost to the point of kicking that thing sideways in the air like you might see a youngster on one of those 300-pound motocross bikes. These things clearly a lot heavier.
Yeah, very talented guys, and that's what this is. I mean, this is basically a supercross, if you will, on snowmobiles. A lot of body English there, lays it way over to get that thing to try and turn. And that big fat track, I mean, it wants to push the sled straight, so it's not something that wants to turn real easily.
Nastala making a good run of it here. I mean, he looks like he's running away from it. You saw him a little bit earlier, Ken, going beyond and passing a back marker, if you will, or one of the slower sleds. But he's got competition now coming up from the back.
Yeah, he was also turning his head around and looking back to see if anybody was coming up, but I got news for him. Brian Ludwig is coming.
Yeah, he is on the move, and I believe Brett knows that as well. He can see that machine. And these guys race, you know, all the time together. They know who to be watching for. And you wouldn't think if you turned around with all that snow flying through the air, you could have any idea who it might be. But I think he's got a pretty good suspicion.
The Polaris is first and second right now, with Brett Nastala on the first place one. In second place, Brian Ludwig. Ski-Doo in third, Arctic Cat in fourth. As these guys continue on here in this moto.
Great representation by all the manufacturers here in all these categories as far as that goes. You know, you've got the top 4 brands represented, and that's kind of neat to see, really. No strong domination overall. You got a machine and a manufacturer in the top 4 spot.
On the throttle hard, airs that thing out.
This is good stuff, man.
And hard to pass, as you can see. I mean, to stay in the preferred line, you know, it's difficult to make a pass. Everybody's out there, so you've got to change your line up.
And now the situation is simple for Brett. Brett's got to watch himself from all angles, because not only is he having to worry about the traffic in front of him, he's got to worry about Ludwig, who was chasing him down from behind.
And talk about guys that are in great shape. I mean, these are true athletes. No question about it. It's very, very physical. You're standing up most of the time. Your knees, thighs just taking an absolute beating. Needless to say, of course, your arms and shoulders and stuff when you're flying that thing.
Man, oh man, oh man, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not so sure this old boy can handle it for very long, but these guys, as you can tell, are very agile and obviously very well cut and very strong young guys. Maybe not all that young as far as that goes.
White flag is out. They need to hang on for one more lap. We'll see if Brett can hang on, or will Brian be able to get around him?
Oh, he's trying to make the move there. Back marker trying to hold him up, though.
Brian on the 221, Brett on the 248, Brett out front.
Oh, this turned into a great race at the end, bud.
I mean, these guys in traffic coming back by here, the white flag for the lapper, and then, of course, the checkered flag comes out, and yes, Brett Nastala will hang on for the win here. As you can see, the results here, courtesy of Herculiner. Brian Ludwig, a good run, but not enough.
Brett Nastala picking up the win in the semi-pro, and you had Ludwig there on your back bumper. You had to work about some lap sleds there and worry about those guys, but nonetheless, when it was all said and done, man, you got the win. Nice job.
Oh yeah, Brian was definitely catching up to me there. I got up to them lappers, and I knew he was right there, and definitely when you get up to all the lap traffic, it slows you down if you can't get by him right away. So I got lucky and was able to get by a couple of them.
Now that we're done with the Big Air Snowcross event, we'll move on to the multi-engine monsters of pro pooling. It's all when we come back.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil on the Edge, out of the snow and into the dirt with the E3 Super Mod Tractor Pull presented by General Tire. We're in Hamburg, New York. A beautiful shot there of Niagara Falls. This is one of the largest pulls in the country, and the best of the best come out here at this gigantic fairground.
No question about it. It's one of the toughest venues on the circuit, and the best is here today. LD Nation, Leishner, Ken Vini as well, amongst others, trying for the big prize.
Yeah, I mean, there's some young guns in this category, and it's great to see them in here. They're learning, but when you take a look at those three guys you just named off, there is so much experience. This guy has been bad to the bone, of course, a legend when it comes to engine building and coming out of the drag racing industry as well. Great to have him in here in the tractor pulling industry. When you take a look at those power plants in that tractor, it is second to none, I promise you.
Yeah, he's a great engineer. And truly, Ken Vini was one of the first guys to really, truly invent the billet aluminum cylinder head for a Hemi motor. Amongst other things, and a great pull, Ken.
Yeah, beautiful job. 318.83. Another look at it right here. They'll transfer the weight, of course, slowly let that clutch out, get those huge rear tires churning, and then it just picks up that front end about 6 inches off the ground to get maximum traction back there on those rear tires to try and get some grip and drag that sled. A solid effort there.
Great driving job. He knew how to judge that track, and as always, Vini does a great job of it and goes right to the top of the pack. Scott Tedder and Mr. Twister up next from nearby my hometown. He's from Marion, Indiana.
And another great pull here, 331.7, as he sends those veterans a strong message here. Look at those butterflies just slowly open up.
We have seen these tractors before, Ken, on a track that I like to call loose. A pulling track that is tight will produce these type numbers like 331 feet. But as you mentioned, those butterflies, baby, they are wide open, and he's making full steam right there at 331.
Here comes one of the characters inside of the category. This guy is full of life, full of energy. LD Nation, the double down tractor. He actually has a couple of different tractors. This is the turbine powered machine, and he has, of course, a supercharged multi-engine tractor as well.
Well, no matter what racing circuit you go around, there's always that one special good guy, and LD's one of them over here, trying to beat that 331 and can't get the job done. And I think he paid the price right there.
Yeah, right there at the very end, man, he was slinging some dirt up over his head. Here comes the next competitor, takes a licking. Wayne Bunnage will be the driver here. Takes a licking, keeps on ticking out of Golden Gate, Illinois.
And here's a machine with 4 motors on board. They're all Hemis, but these babies, instead of being inline, are turned sideways, as you can well see here. These will come up short.
And that's cool, too. I mean, there's so much technology inside of these machines. These aren't just hillbillies out here throwing stuff together. When you take a look at those 4 engines and the transfer boxes, transfer cases that they use to get the power to those rear tires, it is unbelievable, and they have to be absolutely perfect. The tolerances are very, very tight. Here comes the son of Bill Eichner. This is Shannon.
And Shannon now, the full mark at 320, has 3, count them, 3 turbines on that machine. Let's listen to it.
There, 314.98. Keep in mind the full pull distance, 320. We have 2 competitors out. Shannon not able to get in there. We'll find out how Pops does. He'll bring those seasoned eyes in, a multi-time champion from Weldon, Illinois.
And these are Arius block machines. It's a hemispherical head motor, only made by a different manufacturer. Nick Arias built these motors, started building these motors in the early 80s, and they have been utilized a lot in this category.
Oh yeah, he gets over the mark safely, 328.67, 3 of them in the pull-off.
Sound like he had room to spare. Watch it on replay. What you're seeing there coming out the bottom, all that is extra air. Those are kind of overflows, if you will, to let the pressure off the motors themselves.
Tedder hanging right in there with the big dogs. We'll find out if he can win it. We'll also show you some incredible wrecks when we come back. You're watching Lucas Oil on the Edge, and the fans out there, well, they're watching Niagara Falls. Definitely a big draw here, just outside of the E3 Supermod tractor pull. Over here, the Blue Man Group, that's like the Blue Boat.
That's right, that's a large version of it, baby.
Speaking of blue, Scott Tedder's trying to take that blue tractor and that blue sled all the way out across the stripe.
We are into the pull-off.
Tedder, who had the baddest tractor out here in the first round, sets 323.46 as the mark. By the way, LD Nation will not make the call here in the pull-off.
Has already scratched. Apparently there was some sort of breakage on his twin turbine machine earlier, but that is a picture-perfect run from a man from Marion, Indiana right there.
Beautiful job for the Mr. Twister. Now Bill Leishner, the only guy standing between Scott Tedder and a win. Can he get it done?
He's been there a lot of times. He knows how to do it. And it's on a great-looking run, Ken.
Closing off to the left, right at the very end. 319.28 will not be enough to get around Scott Tedder here today. The Dirt Slinger doing a pretty nice job. Feathered those throttles open right at the very end. It pulled him off to the left.
That is a good-looking run, and when it comes down to just a few feet and add a couple inches here or there, overall, this is a run that generally would not get beat in a pull-off, but Tedder was just that little bit better here tonight, and he'll win this baby by just about 4 feet.
Excellent job. Congratulations to Scott Tedder and the Mr. Twister and the rest of his team. On the Edge has been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Starter Guard, no more dead batteries. All right, put your skid lid on, man. We're going to take you to the crash lab. It's going to get ugly.
Put those seat belts on in those recliners, and let's watch Rex Childers in his Top Fuel Hydro machine, Ken.
Jay Hartunian, the boat owner. And this one at the finish stripe gets way ugly, man. These things accelerate to the quarter mile, twin props right there, and well into the 4-second range, 4.67 seconds, speeds of 250 miles per hour. Everything looking pretty good, but it's kind of porpoising a little bit right there. Then it sets down. It looked like it kicked a prop out, and the other prop drove it around in a circle. Of course, once that happens at speed, those things just splinter.
Kind of like breaking an axle on a drag car, baby.
We're at Bark River, Michigan. This is the Upper Peninsula, and Ben Wandasega, he goes for a ride in his super stock truck, more commonly known as a Sportsman 2. Very fast machines, a lot of suspension, but right here, he used all of it and then a little too much.
I sided it just a little bit, tried to bring it around, and the one thing he's trying to do right about now is use that body English to make it go on rolling one more half of a turn and go back to his wheels, because he'd take off if it did.
He absolutely would. I mean, these trucks are pretty tight. So right here, you can see all the fluff on the ground. It just hooks that left rear, gets him up on the bike. He counters it very quickly, but unfortunately, these trucks that weigh in at the better part of 4,000 pounds snap back the other way, and it was all over. Speaking of snapping back.
Byron Dragway and the wheel stand competition. And that, my friends, is Mr. Leidecker right there. Greg Leidecker, and he came in here with this Chevette. You can look at it from behind. They've cut the back of the car off, and he took that baby all the way over, and the fans loved it. The promoter, on the other hand, wasn't all that thrilled. Why? Because he still had real glass in there, and trying to pick that up off of that sticky track surface was not an easy chore.
Absolutely right. It kind of takes you back to the original funny car days with that shortened wheelbase. The thing just looked awkward, but the fans loved it when it flipped over backwards.
This has been an exciting episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. For Ken Stout, Brian Olson, and Rob Klepper, I'm Angela Jenkins. Log on to speedtv.com and link over to newwavetv.com for a list of upcoming OTE shows. Remember, you're not living unless you are on the edge.